mean for your business?
Well, for my business, generational change is actually about embracing what Generation Y, and let's not forget Generation X, bring to organisations that are culturally different. And even in the gender space, the Gen Ys, who are the generation born 1980 to 1995, both the men and women of that generation think completely differently. They are by far the most creative and innovative generation. And my concern in workplaces today is that older baby boomer managers are actually more resistant to change than Generation X and Y. And Gen Ys are the first generation who actually don't care what people think about them. So they are greater risk takers, which means they're also more creative and innovative, because without risk taking and without diversity, you actually don't get creativity and innovation.
So our workplaces are conservative in a lot of cases.
Yes.
Gen Y enters that full of creativity and knowledge and cleverness.
Yeah.
How do we ensure that they're not stifled by those structures?
I think what you have to do is create cultures which are open to risk-taking, cultures which do not punish people for making mistakes, and cultures that encourage open and honest communication. If you're in an environment where mistakes are seen as punishable, people are not going to take risks. In organisations like Google, if you look at people like Richard Branson, what makes them successful is that successful people and organisations have failed more often than less successful ones. And in fact, what they've done is they've taken their failures or their mistakes and said, what have we learned from this? What would we do differently? How can we do this better next time?
How do we go about changing culture in workplaces that are older and more conservative?
I think fundamentally you have to invest in leadership training. As an ex-finance director myself, I know that the first budget we always cut was the training and development budget. Why? Number one, because you can, and number two, because no one notices, and number three, because we think that soft skills training is not necessary, and anything to do with managing people or culture is seen as a soft skill. But what I now know as a reformed accountant and economist is that soft skills deliver hard results. That if you invest in developing the leadership capability of the people who lead the people, then you can change the culture. The challenge in changing organisational culture is changing individual mindsets. And the reality is that culture in an organisation is simply the sum of individual mindsets. So we have to shift those individual mindsets that says leadership is about command and control, it's about telling people what to do, it's about structure, it's about process. And when you think about it, veterans who are older than baby boomers, so they were born prior to 1946, and by the way, they still dominate boards and senior government positions, together with baby boomers, have always believed that to be the leader you have to know everything. And my message to them is, here's the good news. Generation X and Y don't expect you to have all the answers. What they expect is for you to be an honest, authentic leader.